Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. We've just been on the receiving end of an exit of the Carabao Cup. I mean, I don't know what to say. It feels like pain. I mean, I don't really know why we did what we did today. I don't know why we started the way we started. I don't know why we brought on Dane Scarlett. I don't know why we did a lot of the things we did tonight. We're going to bring in, there's 3 people already in the background. I'm going to bring them in a moment. Going to listen, same rules as always. If there's whoever comes in, we're going to try and keep it to maximum 5 people in the rota. I don't want it to be like a mad man for all, like a man for man kind of free for all. So we'll try and keep it on rotation. Let me ask you this though, guys. Smash the like button for me on the video, like you always do. Smash the like button for the show, like you had done on the previous one. I really appreciate your like game. It's so important for the channel. Likes are more important than anything else. More important than subs. More important than super chats. Likes are the way that the channel finds more people. So please make sure you hit that if you appreciate what we do here. And obviously, if you haven't already hit them, then hit the subscribe button as well. Let me get the guys in. Let me get the first 4 people in. Daniel, if you can put on your camera, please, mate, if possible, buddy. And Mia and Adrian, welcome back, guys. How you feeling about that? I'll start with you, Daniel.
It's just laughable at this point. When I saw Sanchez stepping up, I was just laughing. I knew he was going to miss.
We knew it was Sanchez. We knew Sanchez was going to miss, right? You just knew, didn't you?
It's a joke. Why is he taking penalty? 5 people and he's taking the 3rd one or 4th. Why? Who's the decision? Nice cup run, though. Beautiful. I love it.
Nice cup run, right? Exactly, mate. That's what we were talking about. What would you rather have? A cup run? Doesn't matter anymore. That's it.
Doesn't matter.
The Carabao Cup done. You know what? We didn't deserve it. Did we deserve it?
No,
Daniel?
of course not. Of course not.
Fulham were the better team tonight, weren't they?
100%. 100%. Just this second average players, I'm so sick of seeing now. They always get a second chance, always.
Yeah, I'm fuming. I'm fuming with Ange Postecoglou, to be honest.
I'm not gonna blame on him at all. I just think like he put on some players. He proved to me why you should start or whatever, and he couldn't prove it. I mean, he should probably changed a lot second half straight away. The whole midfield, Jesus Christ. But I'm not blaming him too much.
I blame him for picking the team he did, for making the subs he did when he did them. I'm sorry. Like, I'll call it as I see it. It's just because he's Ange Postecoglou and we love Ange Postecoglou doesn't mean that he's suddenly without criticism. Just like Sonny's not without criticism because he's Sonny. Just like Harry Kane was never without criticism because he was Harry Kane. You got to call it as reasonable and balanced as you can. And when we saw that starting 11 tonight, most of us were like, "What is going on with that? It's too much risk." Mia, I mean, how are you feeling? Now we've got so much to get through, but how are you feeling, basically?
Just really disappointed. I'm with you, you know, like at the end of the day, he made those decisions. And when I did my starting lineup, I've said maybe a few changes, but it just felt like he made way too many for us. It was just way too many. We needed to keep a few of our players in. I know he wanted to rest some, but it just felt like, especially the back line, I was a bit saying, well, should we not keep the back line maybe a little bit more stable, because that's where we do have the bigger issue in general. So I was thinking maybe keep that a bit more the same, and maybe change up a few others. But yeah, I do say he has to take the responsibility for those decisions, man. He can't not. And I love Ange, but when he does something wrong, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say that he made the wrong decisions, and with the subs as well. When at half time, he should have made better subs. 100%. He should have just brought on Scarlett. I just thought, why? Like,
I don't. Yeah.
Why Dane Scarlett, Mia? What was that about?
I've got no clue. We'll get overrun in the midfield. Surely it'd be more sensible to bring on this like Sarr Maddison to change it up, because we had no one connecting the back to the like middle. Like, we were not very good at passing out anyway, but no one was taking the ball on, and we needed someone there. So why don't we change it up at the second half and put Sarr on? And if we want to wait a bit longer for Madders, okay. But honestly, why did he not change that? Because that's obviously a part of the big issue was the midfield. We just had no control. So I don't know why he did that.
We were smashed in the midfield. We were smashed. I personally think the only person on the pitch today, I thought Fraser Foster had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mickey van der Ven had a good game. And everybody else, I thought, was absolute dog shit.
Right.
I'll be honest. Adrian,
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, Forster made 2 good saves, didn't he, low down? I mean, they could have scored both of those goals if they'd lifted them a bit better. Yeah, and Sanchez, first half, right? I mean, first half I didn't see, guys. I see the first 10 minutes and my dream went. I see the whole of the second half. And I see Sanchez.
First half was awful, mate. It was far worse.
No, I didn't miss much. Yeah, and I thought when I did see a replay of the goal we conceded, that was unlucky from Van der Ven. You can't knock him for that. I mean, and I know he made, like you said, he did well. His challenges were good. His closing down. He chased down Traore, didn't he? And before he got subbed. And I thought it was a bit unlucky with the booking as well, actually. There was a bit of a tangle there, like. But no, he looked our best defender. But Sanchez trying to ping long balls out, it's not his game. He's got to keep it short. But
the whole system seemed to be like, we weren't doing Ange ball, we were doing Conte ball. We were banging the ball.
Yeah,
we weren't.
The thing is, we weren't pressing and we weren't trying to play it from the back, so we weren't playing Ange ball at all. That was Conte ball, surely. Like, that was much more with Conte ball.
Yeah, Perisic did all right for the cross and the goal, but the guys that come in on the flanks, even Solomon, a couple of flashes. But that was it, nothing more. I mean, what it needed in midfield, Emilio's right. I mean, like, when Lo Celso went off, that was the time to bring Maddison on. That was the time to bring him on. We needed someone. We weren't playing for our midfield. We tried to get the ball wide all the time. There was no one had the gumption, or they were too frightened to try and play a forward ball from midfield, right? So as we could get things going that way, you know. It didn't happen, did it? I mean, so he made his subs. You know, I mean, I'm pleased Richarlison got a goal for his confidence. Pleased for that reason. But, you know,
that's the only positive out of the evening.
Yeah, we had no fluidity. We were disjointed, and we had no cohesion in our play at all. We kept giving the ball away, and a lot of the forward passes were hit too hard for people to control. They either bounced off our players and Fulham picked it up. They had the same problem, though. They weren't great either. But, I mean, like, you know, it was just a scrappy affair, wasn't it?
It was, 100%, mate. Completely agree. Alex, I'm going to come to you just in 1 second, mate. Let me get a couple of super chats. Really appreciate the super chat from Chankle. And first big misstep. 100%. Excuse me. 100%. This is his first big misstep. I'm almost glad that we've seen that the man's not perfect. Now we can get down a little bit from putting him on that pedestal, because tonight it was a disaster. I knew it was going to be. I said within the first 5 minutes. I said we're going to lead. We're going to be out of this tournament. Terrible team selection. Anyway, the super chat says way too many changes. Completely agree. Needed one of Maddison, Sarr, or Basuma from the get-go. At least it's very obvious who needs to go. Exactly that, mate. Exactly that.
Sure, and Sarr's taken penalties before in Italy. He's taken penalties with confidence. If you watch the videos of him, he can take a penalty.
I'm not worried about the penalty shootout, mate. Penalty shootouts can go either way. Like, I care about the fact that we went there in the first place, because we spent 60 minutes of the game doing absolutely sweet FA. We didn't create anything. We created nothing. We're going to get the stats up in a minute, but I think apart from the goal, I don't really remember him having to make a save. The keeper, what's his name? Rodak. Yeah. I don't remember Rodak. Maybe he made one save from Solomon in the second half. Don't remember him having to make a save in the first half. Atrocious. This is Fulham. No disrespect to Fulham, but it's still Fulham. We should have been able to do better than that. The team selection was awful. For me, I'm not like, I see someone putting Ange out. No, of course, nothing like that's ridiculous. Nothing like that. I still love Ange. It's good that we see that he's fallible because otherwise people are going to be letting for I don't know what he was thinking, but you know what? Someone else said it right here. Where was it? Leslie Crawford. Shout out to Leslie. Middlesbrough, Forest, Sheffield, and now Fulham. You get what you deserve playing weakened teams. Ridiculous not taking the cup seriously. We had 2 chances to win a trophy this year. We ain't winning the Premier League. We're playing 1 game a week. And we put out a B team, 3rd game of the season. It's not like they're tired. It's not like they're exhausted. What are we doing? Alex, I'll let you come in, mate. Sorry, buddy. I'm ranting. It's not my show. It's your show, guys. So you guys talk. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you guys rant. Sorry, mate. Go on, Alex.
So my biggest thing, the selection was dreadful. And mainly because I think, why on earth are we playing a team so close to the window, full of players that we're expecting to sell? And I thought first half, a lot of those players played like they were trying to avoid injury. And they looked like they weren't really going all out to win. They were too cautious, too conservative, backwards. Honestly, I'm Orthodox Jewish, so I can't watch games on a Saturday. I was so excited about finally getting to see a full 90 minutes. And I've just watched the game and I feel like it's last season and Conte's still in charge. That is one of the worst games that we've played, for a long time. And it's the same motley crew of hopeless, I don't know what words to use, but professional footballers. Let's say that. The Sanchez constantly giving the ball away. Højbjerg the same, overhitting passes when he does try and play a forward ball, reminding everybody that there's a reason why he normally passes backwards or sideways. We didn't have the pace either. I think that was the biggest thing. There was no pace in the team at all. We had that slow, lethargic way of playing that we all fell asleep watching last season. And that only really changed, I think, when Sarr came on. And he looked to be playing the ball with much more urgency and trying to drive forwards in midfield. Skip, I'm so disappointed. I've got so much faith in Skip. I've liked him as a player. I've always thought he's got great potential, and he looked great when before he got injured. And I don't know what's wrong with him, to be honest, because
he was absolutely atrocious tonight. Skippy was anonymous in the first half. Lo Celso was worse, but Skippy in the hard 8, the second 8, he's supposed to be able to win the ball back. Lo Celso, his job is different. Lo Celso didn't have much to be able to prove because he didn't have the ball enough. When he did it, he was terrible. Where was Skippy? What was he doing?
I don't know.
Was
Celso injured,
manager?
by the way, or did he just get hooked because he was crap?
Who? Sorry,
Lo Celso. Was he injured?
Lo Celso was hooked at half time. Lo Celso was hooked at half time, and again, what on earth was that as a substitution? I mean, I don't know. You bring on Dane Scarlett. The guy's never scored a goal in first team football. I don't know what's going on with that. Big up, Phil. How you doing, mate? Frank,
how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm gonna after there's like 3 or 4 people waiting in the background. Kate, I know you wait in the background. Stay with me. I want to let the guys here have a couple more minutes to kind of get some stuff off their chest, and then I'll start to rotate. Frank, how you doing, mate?
I just so freaking mad. We have no Europe this season, and we just totally disrespected Fulham, who, by the way, went into the Emirates and got a 2-2 draw against Arsenal. Okay? We can't play our best team, right? Throw them in a freaking bubble bath the next day. You got Burnley on Saturday. I mean, what is there to figure out? I mean, I can't. I mean, everyone's Angie. It's like, did he look at our past record in cups? I mean, it keeps happening. It keeps happening.
I'm furious, mate. I think we all should be furious. On the players that didn't turn up, it was their chance to prove themselves. Let me ask you this.
And
Mate.
who lets a centre back? Who lets a freaking centre back take a penalty?
Yeah,
I
don't know.
I'm tackling him before he gets the ball. I mean, I don't care if he comes up to me if I'm manager and says, "Hey, boss, I want to take the penalty." You're a centre back. How many goals have you scored in your career? It's a joke.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on tonight. The whole thing stank for me. Let me keep. You know what, Phil? Stay there for a second. Hang on. How am I going to do this? So I'll keep it moving. You know what, Phil? I'll let you go. I'll let you get your initial. I've got an echo as well, guys. I can hear an echo in my. Someone got two microphones on.
No.
Phil,
do you want me to? Yeah.
Hang on. Let me speak again. Yeah, I think it was Phil. I think. Oh, someone's gone. Phil, what's your thoughts on the game, my man?
It's an absolute crap show from start to finish, to be honest with you. I mean, from the team selection, Ange got it totally wrong tonight. I'm not going to, taint that over what he's done in the league so far and what he's done with these group of players. But he's made a mistake tonight in that team selection. Why we're resting 9 players 4 games into the season, when we've got an international break in after the Burnley game for 2 weeks. Why are we resting players at the start of the season? Pretty much, you play your full strength side, you get that momentum going, and get a good result against Burnley, and then we're away, But now we've got a small blip now where we're out of a competition where we could have gone far in, and it's Sheffield all over again, isn't it?
But do you know the one thing I will say is that if I've got the echo now.
Your microphone on mute when you're not talking, mate. Is that all right, buddy?
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, the thing we've got is that let's see how Ange deals with this blip, and also how the players deal with it, because that's going to be very interesting to see what he says and how he deals with it. I think that's going to be one that we can keep an eye on, because see if he blames players, if he blames himself. I think he'll blame himself personally, but I think it'd be interesting because sometimes you need these blips, right? So you can learn from them. So hopefully this is something that Ange can learn from.
Yeah. Let me just get a couple of super chats that I want to get out. Then I'm going to come back round the houses, and I'm going to come to Kate in a minute. Kate, just bear with me 2 seconds so I can get everyone, get the other guys in. Moss Chops in the house. Big up Moss Chops. This one is on Ange. He messed up big time. I genuinely think that there is a lot of the question marks on that. Listen, he's got to pick an 11. If he thought that 11 was good enough, then that's on him. But at the same time, I think we all know that 11 was never going to be good enough. We saw it. I don't know. I mean, Adrian, I was talking to you back before the game, obviously. And Mia, I spoke to you as well. It didn't look great. It didn't look great at all. Blaine Dev's coming in. I'm going to give this one to you, Daniel. Appreciate you, Blaine Dev. Thank you so much for the generous super chat, my man. It really helps the channel out because we get limited ads and everything. Sorry, but stop using Sanchez as a scapegoat. Manor Solomon, Skippy, Richie, Perisic, Davies, and Lo Celso were terrible. This one is on Ange to explain why the B team played. They looked like they had no clue. I actually 100% agree. I thought Sanchez had a shocking first half for what it's worth. I thought he was absolutely atrocious. But you could make exactly the same accusation about 7 other players on that pitch. Daniel, what's your take on that, mate? Are they all as guilty as each other? Did Sanchez stand out for you for some reason?
No, I think everyone's just stand. I think it's Perisic, especially for me, especially in the first half, stood out, and also Skip and Højbjerg and Lo Celso. I swear to God, that man does not have a right leg. I don't know why he just jump with one leg. I just don't understand. One of the worst. I don't understand whatever. But Sanchez, we know how bad Sanchez is. So of course, I mean, he was that first goal. He was sent to so many hot dog shops all over the country. You got to go with all this. Couldn't. I swear. Can't get the word out either now. But
sorry, mate.
But yeah, Solomon looks like Lucas 0.2 at this point, just dribbling and can't do anything else. As well, Davis, of course. Jesus Christ, sideways, backwards. Don't want to make any forward runs.
That was the thing. Every single person that was on the pitch today, we all know that they are sideways. They are part of the Conte system where sideways passes was okay. I mean, let me come to. I mean, AJ's come in with this one. I'll hand this one over to you, Mia. Really appreciate the super chat, AJ. Thought a lot of positives came out of the game, and just got to take a good look at the depth of his squad. This was an opportunity for the fringe players to stake their claim, and not one of them delivered. Yeah, so maybe he's making the point that out of adversity becomes opportunity, but the opposite happened, right? None of them stood up. What is that? Maybe the positive is, all right, you sacrificed the cup, but hopefully the club, Ange, Levy, etc., are now looking like we all have to now and get back to reality. We've been living on cloud 9 for the last 2 weeks. Come back down to reality and realize that our starting 11 maybe can do it in the league. But I've said it before, that Jenga tower, you pull the wrong plug, you pull the wrong block out, and it's bang average very quickly. And today was bang average, Mia. Is that the takeaway we got to take from it? Is that what AJ's saying? Are we right here to think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think none of them really stood up to the task, did they? And I do feel like the amount of changes he made was just way too many. So it just shows you that we can't make those changes. So yeah, there's still lots of players that need to go. They didn't stand up when the ones that we think are going to go, they played tonight and they just weren't good enough. They just really weren't. So yeah, hopefully this is a wake up call. And I hope that that's what happens, and that we do get rid of them.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to come to Kate now, mate. Kate, welcome in. Daniel, do you mind, mate? There's a few people waiting in the background. Can I move the first couple of people out? Is that all right, Dan? I really appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. I'm done speaking. I'm fucking fuming.
Thank you so much for coming on, my man. I'll see you on the next one. Okay. Cheers,
yeah,
Dan. Love you,
take care.
Take
guys.
care. I'm going to bring Colin in, but I'm going to get Kate now. Kate, welcome to the show. Hope you're okay.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
What's your thoughts on the show? Oh, on the show. The show was excellent, of course. What's your thoughts on the game?
As soon as I saw the team, I said to Jim, well, Ange has made a massive mistake by underestimating Fulham. But to me, it just shows his naivety and inexperience of the Premier League. I mean, our players, they didn't stand up to the task, but we all knew they wouldn't. Every Spurs fan looked at that team and said, this team's not good enough. If Ange has researched this club like he says he has and watched all these videos, he should know that near enough every one of that team is not good enough. To make 9 changes when we've got Burnley at the weekend and then a 2-week international break is absolutely baffling. I do not understand what on earth he was thinking. It's just the same thing, different season, different manager. We don't take the cup seriously. It's just boring. This is one of the only things we've got a chance of winning, and we've just gone out with a whimper. It's so frustrating, and I have lost a little bit of faith in Ange Postecoglou. As Jim thinks that he will learn from his mistakes, because that's what he is, but what an expensive way to learn.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit soon to say that we're going to lose faith in him. It's one. I think managers all make mistakes. Look at even big managers make mistakes, don't they, in games and do things, and they end up obviously missing out, losing or whatever. So I feel like it's maybe a little bit too soon to say you're losing faith. Like to say, let's lose faith in him a little bit. But he did make a mistake, and we do have to call him out for it. Absolutely. Like, of course.
I mean, he had to learn. He had to figure it out for himself. Hopefully, he's a fast learner, not like the other Tottenham managers we've had in the past that continue to do this. It drives me insane that Tottenham Hotspur, who know how desperate the fans are, the managers should know how desperate the fans are for a trophy, how unlikely it is to ever win one in the Premier League, given how ridiculously competitive the league is. and yet to treat these games with disdain against. I mean, I wouldn't even be okay with it. I'd be okay with it if it was a League Two, or whatever, something like that. But even a Championship, we as fans have learned our lesson. I'm sure. I don't think there's a single Tottenham fan in this. Let me know in the comments if there's a single one of you in the comments who sincerely saw that starting 11 and went, "Yep, am I okay with that?" I don't think anyone was. I think every single person that I saw in the preview show and everything else, consensus was, "What are we doing? What are we doing?"
There is one thing I would say in defence of Ange, and that lineup is pretty much the same team outplayed Barcelona for 70 minutes. Pretty much exactly the same lineup, except for Van der Ven and Forster. So he has seen those players play quite well in pre-season.
And that's the problem, mate. The only two players that you just named that weren't in the Barcelona team were the only two players that had any credit tonight.
I agree with you. I think the difference is we've seen with these players, and we know it because we've been watching Spurs for years, watching the same players make the same mistakes. But the thing is, it's fine in pre-season against Barcelona when we're all expected to lose, but when it's time to be adventurous and show a bit of backbone, they just crumble mentally. I thought Højbjerg was disgraceful today. I know there are other players that had a bad game, but as a supposedly senior player, I think he was absolutely dreadful. I think he was our worst player, to be honest.
Big up, Frank, mate. Yeah, saw you. Thanks for coming on, buddy. Obviously, you dropped off. Appreciate you, mate. I think we're all mad, mate. We're all furious. I mean, is it time to? Is Colin? Are you there, mate? I don't know if you're there, buddy. I wanted to bring you in, but your camera's off. I don't know if you've disappeared. If you've disappeared, I'll bring you out and bring the next guy in. But
he said in the private chat he's coming back.
He's coming back.
I know you don't
I'll leave him for a minute. The other people have dropped out for a second as well, so that's okay.
Can I just say as well, Sean?
Yes, of course, please.
I mean, we've got a few players in the starting lineup tonight. I mean, the transfer window is going to end on Friday, right? You've got Sanchez, who's potentially going out of the club. You've got Højbjerg potentially going out of the club, being linked with Man United. I wouldn't start any of these players that are potentially going out of the club anyway. I know they're professionals. They're professional football players, and they're playing for the club. But I wouldn't even put them in the squad if there was a chance of them going out Friday. So.
What really worries me, mate, more than just the result, right? More than just the result, is Davinson Sanchez today was appalling. The same version of Davinson Sanchez that we saw. And again, I'm not scapegoating him. I'm just going to. The reason I'm mentioning his name is because everybody has watched him in pre-season and watched him after Romero came off against Brentford and suddenly went, I'm guilty of it as well. So I'm not mudding anyone. If I'm mudding you, I'm mudding me, right? But everybody went, oh, maybe we've got the Davinson Sanchez back from the Ajax days. Maybe this is his system. He can play the high press because he's got the pace, and his one redeeming asset is his ability to get back and do the slide tackles. Maybe, just maybe, Sanchez can be the best of the rest. Right, it ain't going to be Dyer. No one wants Longley. Ash Phillips probably isn't ready. No one knows. Anyone who says he's ready, you don't know. So stop with that nonsense, right? But Sanchez is the best of the rest. So if we can only get one centre back, then let's get one, and we'll keep Sanchez. Today showed we are all ridiculous for thinking that Sanchez had changed his spots. Leopards don't change their spots. Zebras don't change their stripes. Like, he ain't a snake that sheds the skin. He is Davinson Sanchez, the same Sanchez we've seen for the last 4 years. Useless, frank, useless. He is awful, right? Yeah. He's awful. And I think that we need to get back on board that train and hope that he disappears out to wherever he's going to go to, and hope that Daniel Levy and Ange can figure out a way to bring in two centre-backs, because that guy ain't worth the third spot.
I mean, no one's scapegoating him. Everyone played shocking tonight. Everyone, But I will say, I mean, what's he taking a penalty for as well? There's other players that are capable of taking a spot kick other than Sanchez. You know, like Adrian said, Sarr's taken him before. You know, Sanchez hasn't performed for this club since he's been here. You know, and there's other players in the squad that don't perform week in, week out for this club either, and that's why they're going out the door. Maybe this transfer window or next. So, you know, there's a lot of deadwood that we need to get rid of, and yeah, Angie's got a massive job on his hands.
Okay, I completely agree with you, Phil. I think tonight was a massive wake up call. The result itself disappointing. I personally don't care about the penalties. I think that you asked Sanchez to take it, whatever. I thought his penalty was okay. I didn't think his penalty was that bad, to be honest.
I thought it was shocking, Sean, to be honest with you. Half-hearted attempt to take a penalty kick.
Yeah.
I thought it was hit fast. It was hit low. Right. I didn't think. I thought it was a difficult height for the keeper. I didn't think it was that bad. To each their own. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anything can happen with penalties.
Pretty much on the floor.
Yeah.
Colin, let me bring you in, mate. Welcome to the show, buddy. It's a long time, mate. Haven't seen you for ages. How you feeling, boss?
Oh man, heartbroken today. But I was heartbroken as soon as the team sheet came out and I saw who we were lining up. I mean, we're not. I know I'm gonna be repeating what everyone's already said, so I apologize for that. But we have no European Cup competitions to travel for. We have a cup game today, which we didn't really have to travel for. Why are we resting the goalkeeper, for Christ's sake? Like, if you're going to rest anybody, you could make an excuse for pretty much anybody else, but why put Forster in the game? Like, I'm just saying, the panhands statue man is never going to get down. He's never going to be able to. He barely. I think he dove for one of the penalties. That was the one that like went top right corner that nobody in the world was getting. It was just it's a strange one. I don't know.
But do you know what else? Do you know what else? To be honest with you, Colin, it wasn't that. We missed Vicario's passing out from the back and his calmness. We missed that because all Forster kept doing was trying to kick it long, and it was really frustrating me because that was just like Conte ball. Why are we doing that? That's not how Ange likes to play. Where Vicario's a lot calmer with his kicking, and he's a lot better as well with his saving. He's just he's just a better keeper. So we missed that tonight massively. We missed that calm, collective goalkeeper, because it starts at the back. Because if he's nervous, he looked nervous, they knew, so they kept pressing him to try and make him make mistakes because he kept taking too long on the ball. So things like that. So I think Vicario, we missed him massively in that sense. Not really the pens, I wouldn't say, was a bigger miss. I think it was the actual in game that we missed him.
Yeah.
I agree. Before we go around anymore, let me just quickly jump through some super chats, guys. Callum, big up Callum, mate. I think this is the same Callum that came on during the halftime break. Good to see you, mate. You're finding an alibi as an excuse for the players. No excuse for the players, mate. For me, the players have to earn their, are still in the mud for me. I thought every single one of them, apart from, especially in the first half, and even most of the second half, there was nothing really to write home about. I thought we were dreadful. So there's no excuses on that basis. I just think that the whole thing was unnecessary, and that Ange also needs his slice. But they all get a slice. It's a big giant blame pie. I always say it, a giant pizza pie of blame. Everyone gets their slice. Some slices larger than the other. But thank you for the super chat. Woodsy saying a cheap goal for us with a man up. Fulham deserved it 100%. It's a really good point. The only reason we scored, by the way, we got that luxury down the left hand side. Tete was off the pitch. Perisic got the cross in to Richarlison. That doesn't happen with Tete, who for me was the man of the match. Him or Robinson. I thought both of them were absolutely extraordinary. Nobody wanted to take on Tete. That guy is a brilliant, brilliant right back. Nobody wanted to take him on, and every time they did, they got absolutely pocketed. I completely agree, Woodsy. We didn't even deserve the goal, if I'm honest. If it wasn't for his broken shoe and the fact that they didn't bring a second pair of shoes out to the stands, he would have been on the pitch. Appreciate the super chat. Hollywood Hotspur, massive shout out to you, mate, in LA. Hope you're okay. Nice lunchtime game for you. Just a shame it was a terrible one. Ange needed to see this firsthand. He got a full dose of Dr. Tottenham's medicine. Bend over and drop your drawers. He will learn. He will improve when he knows who he can trust. Listen, it's a really good point, and I'm gonna ask I'll ask Adrian to take this one. Adrian, he will learn, but ultimately, he can't trust anybody that's not in the first team. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Where was the high line? Where was the high line? When you've got our defenders standing back and passing sideways and all that, what exasperates me is you'll have a defender, a player who's 7 or 8 yards in front of him. He passes it to that player, and that player then passes it straight back to him. Why isn't the player using the space he's in and pushing up the field? And then the whole back four can push up the field. That wasn't happening. I expressed my concerns earlier about if we get into difficulty. I was hoping on that lineup that Skip and Højbjerg would control the midfield and Lo Celso would be the playmaker, the number 10. Didn't happen. But, I mean, they were all poor, weren't they? And my concern about Perisic, and I would have played one of them. I was going to put Perisic or Solomon. I think they're going to play Richarlison, Son, and Solomon, or you play Perisic and you don't play Solomon, right? Because you're trying something new, keep some regular players in there. But I know what I've seen of Solomon. I mean, like, look, he's only had a little game time. We know what Perisic can do on a good day with his 12 assists last season. But even last season under Conte ball, Perisic can't defend, and Solomon can't defend either. Looking at it, So this is why I think he goes with Richarlison, even though he's not the best, and why he plays Decky, because even when Decky came on, but what he was doing, he was running back, getting the ball right. He wasn't that impressive or nothing, but you'll get a shift out of Decky and Richarlison, which you need in the Premier League. You can't have people slack, And our passing was awful. Our passing was awful.
Shocking.
Shocking.
Too hard.
I'm going to get the stats
hard
up.
to players. What it needed was, if you've taken Richarlison off, it needed one of Maddison or Bissouma on to start the game. Then really, I mean, like if it meant Skip or Højbjerg, one of them dropping out, and then maybe Lo Celso might have got into the game. He never got into the game, did he? At all?
Bissouma was the first sub for me to come onto the pitch to control the game. We had no one in that midfield to dictate the play.
He was the most important player that we should have brought on. Ahead of anybody else.
It
should have been Bissouma.
Yes, yeah.
Kate, let me ask you this. We got a super chat here from I don't know. I think I saw you in your private message. You said you're not staying long. Are you okay? Okay, you sick?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just knackered.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. It's a long day, 100%.
I think we all like in that game.
Alex E, the super chat. Big up, Alex. He's saying Carabao Cup is the third priority, and proving we must invest. Is there 4D chess going on here? A lot of people have always given the manager credit for picking stupid teams, saying, the purpose is to prove to the Levy that we must invest. I mean, Alex, no disrespect, buddy. I think he just picked the wrong team. I don't think it's trying to play that kind of card where he's doing it to prove something. But either way, Kate, do you think that is... I mean, do you agree? Or do you think that it does prove the point, whether it's by design or by idiocracy, whatever? Do you think it just proves the point that the next 3 days are going to be crucial for Tottenham's season?
I don't think he picked the team on purpose to show we need to invest, because he did give this big speech about, I don't care if we're playing in a car park or on a rooftop, I want to win every game. He picked the team because he clearly thought they were good enough, and how, I don't know, but he obviously did. I think the players that played all know they're not going to be in his plans and don't really give a crap. So I'm not sure why they were even selected. But it does prove that if we don't invest over the next few days, we're in trouble, because we're 1 or 2 injuries away from being an absolute disaster class. And we've shown that tonight. I mean, Van der Ven, I thought, had a decent game. He was about the only one who I thought was decent. I thought we were appalling. It was like watching us last season. It was just an absolute shambles of a game. Shambles. So if we don't invest, I do really worry for the season.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Rain Man with a super chat. Big up, Rain Man. Thank you so much for the support. I'll ask this one to you, Mia. People getting on the Ditch Richie bandwagon when we've got no long-term evidence about Richie, but we have got years of evidence on Sanchez. It was just disjointed all over. Let's take it. Let's move away from Sanchez. I don't want to give him the cold shoulder the entire night because I think everyone deserved it. Let's take the Richie part of it. For me, Mia, Richie was absolutely awful again all night, apart from a goal. Really important that he got it, but it would have been great if it was the winning goal, not a goal that got us back into the game that we ended up losing. So, but what were your thoughts on Richie? And do you think we're on the Ditch Richie bandwagon? Are we giving him a hard time that we're not giving to others?
I don't think so. I think people do give him a hard time, and people will say we have got evidence because of him at Everton and him under Conte, where maybe that's a bit of a harsh thing to say about Conte because Conte didn't really play him in his preferred position. He also did berate him and probably took away his confidence a bit. And I do understand why people are getting frustrated with Richie. I really, really do. But I'm a bit more maybe lenient towards him and thinking this goal, I'm hoping if he gets another couple of goals, it'll boost him up a little bit. Like I said earlier, the point about no striker's going to score 30 goals a season, it's very unlikely. But even if he manages to get 15, I think that will be a good amount. But is he going to do that? We'll have to wait and see. He has to be given the opportunity in Ange's system to be able to see if he can do that. Ange said himself, it has to be quite a few more games for him to get enough evidence to see how he fits. So we're going to have to wait. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. So I'm not really on the Ditch Richie bandwagon myself. I'm not really I'm sort of saying we need to maybe give him a little bit more time to see. But I understand it. I do understand it. It is frustrating. He wasn't good enough tonight. So I completely understand. He was nowhere near good enough tonight.
It's not just his. I mean, he took his goal well tonight, but it's his overall game. It's his touch. It's his passing. It's his hold up play. It's just not there. We've got a massive problem there. We need to address that as much as we do another defender. Really, in my eyes, I think it's more important than any other position because I can't see where the goals are coming from up top. I really can't.
I disagree because tonight I feel like the defence, if we get one injury, we're back to Sanchez, which is people obviously would say that's more detrimental. Where the goals, we have scored goals from other places, and if Sonny starts scoring as well, I think that is a less of an issue scoring goals. But defensively, if we lose that one defender, I would say centre back is probably more important personally.
I mean, how many goals have we scored in our front three this season so far, albeit 4 games? And have they even looked like scoring? Have they even looked like scoring in that front three? I can't see where we ain't sharp up front. We're not taking our chances. We're not getting in positions to take chances. It's just all disjointed up top at the minute, and we really need to address that problem. We do, because at the end of the day, the way Ange plays, we need someone to put the ball in the back of the net, and we haven't got that at this moment in time.
Bear with me 2 seconds, guys. The conversation will carry on in 2 seconds. I just want to quickly say a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to shout back out to Daniel Larson. If you're still watching, mate, come back on, bro. There was a list of 4 people waiting in the queue, and then as soon as I said to you, "Can you jump off?" I was going to make the next necessary jumps, and then everyone just jumped out of the stream, the background. So I feel terrible for asking you to jump off when there's more than enough space to have you back in, buddy. So it wasn't deliberate, but come back in if you want to. I want to say a massive shout out to Blaine Dev again with the super chat membership gifts. So generous, my man. You have gifted. What have you done? You've gifted Netcrit Gaming, Random YouTube Commenter, Chris Peters, Def Archer, and Leon M96. The pony membership, mate. So generous of you, mate. I hope everyone of those 5 have just said thank you to you in the super chat. Very, very cool of you, mate. And I hope to meet all you guys on the on the fan phoning show, which is going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to have to do one of them tomorrow now because after this performance, let's get back into the super chats. I want to hand them around. I want to go to Colin next. Colin, question for you was from Woody1021 again. Vic had to be in for pens. Foster moved in slow-mo. I don't think we didn't have any substitutes left to make. So I don't think we could have made the Vicario thing. But thoughts on Foster's penalty shootout? I mean, I don't really. To me, penalties are what they are. I don't really care. I think that's almost like a draw in my mind. But go on. Was Foster awful?
No, he just was a weird choice to have playing in the match in the first place. It was just. I do think Vicario would have done better. I do. I really do. He's just a smaller, lighter person that moves around easier. So he would have actually been able to dive for some of those instead of just kind of falling over to his side and whatever. And he was also so, I don't know, just penalties aside, I just don't think he should have been in the match. You know what I mean? Like, why? I understand that you have people and you have to keep, especially with the lack of games, you have to keep players happy. You have to keep, but this is a backup keeper who is like aging out of our squad. I just don't get it. I think that we've got to have, there's Whiteman, or I'm actually not sure if he's even still with us, but you know what I mean? There's got to be a youth keeper. I would have much rather had a youth keeper, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't think that Forster is good enough. I think he's a big reason why we were, we let in 63 goals last season. He played the second.
Really? I thought he was our best player. I think he was our best summer signing last year. I thought he actually had a good game tonight in the 90 minutes. I thought he made 2 or 3 good saves. I would say that he was.
He did make 2 or 3 good saves, but Mia was 100% on when she talked about how he can't play out from the back, how he doesn't fit the system. The system is completely changed to the system that we played last year. And last year he worked out okay because we did go with the long balls, so it was no big deal that he couldn't play out from the back. But with this system, if we're going to continue to play Ange ball, regardless of who we put in, if it's just, you know what I mean, it just doesn't really make any sense to me personally.
Fair enough. I'm going to take this one very quickly from Americanka. Thank you so much, Americanka. I really appreciate you saying man of the match was Tete's shoe. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. He kept us in it for our point of view. There's no point in putting a man of the match out. It would have been, if we had it done, I should have put him in the top 4. I reckon he would have got 90%. I thought we were terrible apart from 2 others. Really appreciate you, Americanka. It's great to see you back around these here parts. I'm going to come to you, Alex, for the next one from Blaine Dev. And this is a little bit of a controversial one from my man Blaine, the most generous guy. Really appreciate you again. I do love how our fans now turn. Okay, Ange got it wrong. Don't judge us on one game, for God's sake. I bet we now go and smash Burnley 4-0 as retribution. It's a great question. We're all angry. We're all frustrated with that performance. Are we now guilty of going to be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Alex? Are we now, overreacting, the pendulum swinging too far? Or are we right to be a little bit frustrated tonight? What's your thoughts on that?
I think there's 2 things. Are we right to be frustrated, and should we be making a judgment about our new manager after 4 matches? I think they're 2 different questions. We should be frustrated because we played shit and we've lost a game that was winnable, at least on paper. So we've every right to be frustrated, especially when it's the same players letting us down season in, season out. And we've watched this. It's like a Groundhog Day. So we've every reason to be frustrated. Should we, I think the people saying Ange out are probably being sarcastic. At least I'd assume that. Because if they're serious, they need to go to the psychiatric ward. You can't judge someone after 4 games. And also, he needs to. He has got. I think this idea of he's trying to send a message to leave. We used to see things like this from Conte. I think Postecoglou doesn't need to do that. He'll just open his gob and say what he thinks. I don't think he needs to pick teams to lose matches. To send a message to the chairman, I think he probably has learned that these are players that he can't rely on. I think that's the benefit. Some of the fans, I saw a chat before that popped up on the screen about Dane Scarlett saying he's never going to be a Premier League level player, and I just thought, how old is he? 19?
19.
20? I mean, that is to me is astonishing that you would look at a youth player and write him off. I mean, people did that to Harry Kane when he was first coming through. So hopefully they'll have other things in common. But yeah, I don't think he's. We've seen what Phil was saying about the front three looking disjointed. I actually think if you like, the first choice front three, or at least the attacking players, if you include Maddison and Sarr in those five, they look like they're starting to have a bit of an understanding. In the last game, I thought Kulusevski's movement for the second goal on Saturday was fantastic, as well as the finish. I think that was a really nice finish for his goal on Saturday. So I think there are grounds for optimism over and above today's result. The question is he going to pick these bunch of cloggers again?
Well, let me ask Jacob that. Sorry, Alex, had you finished your point?
Well, no, I was just that was it. There's certain players who we're assuming, like Højbjerg, by all accounts, doesn't want to even be at the club. I know he's supposedly, I can't remember if it was you.
He didn't step up for a pen tonight. Everyone's moaning about Sanchez doing it. Where was Ben Davies, who was actually captain tonight? He didn't want to take one. Where was Højbjerg, who's supposed to be the captain that everyone thought was the captain if it wasn't going to be someone other people that were captains? Where was he? A lot of people shied away. Very, very interesting. Obviously, we don't know whether or not the captains, whether the manager picks the shooters or whether they put their hand up. I don't know how that works. But if there was any self directive in it, then don't know where those players were. You'd expected more.
Yeah, I think you can certainly say if it was a question of players putting their hands up, that Ben Davies can be forgiven for, he's a defender, for saying I don't want to take one, more so than Højbjerg.
He was captain though. I don't know. Appreciate you, Alex, for saying that, mate. Jake, can I bring you in? Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hello. Hey, is everybody okay? Are we all right over here? That's what my first question is. But before anybody answers that, let me just say, Ange Postecoglou has spoken post-match already about what I've been saying. I assumed what it was, which was he gave all these players an opportunity to prove something. All these players that we saw, the Dane Scarlett substitution being first, etc., tells me that Ange Postecoglou said, I'm going to give all of these guys a chance to prove something to me, whether we know them as the Davinson Sanchez's of before or we know them, etc. It doesn't matter. Ange is putting it out on the plate. Like I've said from the beginning in the preseason, he's putting it out there to see who can go and grab the opportunity. Let's remember that our first 11, they did play 72 hours ago. I do think that this was an opportunity to see what we had to offer from players like Richarlison, Van de Ven, and then all the other players, the 9 substitutions. I think Ainge just wants a good look at the guys, and he's alluded to as much with his post-game comments. I mean, I quote, how am I going to find out my players? We need to give the players the opportunity to contribute. I think that says it all, and that really, I mean, everyone's upset. I was literally just on the Football Terrace defending Ange Postecoglou because people are ready to, people are real upset, and I'm just, one loss, and everyone feels some type of way. It's okay. We drew against Fulham. It's all right.
Well, let me ask you this.
Just slipped off another trophy is the only thing that makes me upset about it. But
just quick.
But did we expect to win this cup? Did anyone before this season think that we were going to come in here and win any of these cups? Facts. Did anyone say that? No.
Good point.
It was all hopeful. It was all hope that we could. We wanted to see deep runs, yes, but
didn't even get done down in the second round. I thought Fulham. I just think you have to treat it You can go into the competition. Shout out to Ben. Evening, Ben. Good to see you, mate. I'm gonna make my point, and then I'm gonna let it just. And after this, right, there's 9 of us in the house. From now on, I want everyone to just fight for their right to speak. Okay, so like, it's gonna be difficult for me to remember in which order who needs to speak when. There's a couple of super chats I want to get to just quickly. From John. Big up, John. Great to see you briefly at halftime. Fiddlesticks, how on earth did that happen? We're trying to figure that out right now. We are, but I really appreciate the super chat. Absolute, like, just a devastating evening for me. I love the cup, and much as I don't think we're going to win it, or I don't necessarily go into it and think that I'd sacrifice a cup for a better league run to do it to go out in that fashion, I think is the issue that I'm trying to deal with. And Brian Timlin, big up Brian. I hope you're okay, mate. You haven't put a comment in, so I don't know what if you had something. I'll find out if you put something in behind it, and I'll get it up in a second. But very much appreciate the super chat, my man. What I was going to say, guys, was it's one thing to go in, Jacob, with your perspective, where you say like we're not going to win the cup, so like and Ange saying, well, we're going to give everyone the chance to prove themselves. I think that's fine as a template, but you have to treat the cup in the isolation of the games that you get drawn. Fulham away, first attempt, second round, first entry point. The idea of getting dumped out now I think it's harsher. I think it's weirder. I think it's worse than getting to the fourth round and getting dumped out. I think it would have been fine to have experimented against Carlisle, Port Vale, whatever, like Morecambe. Experiment, give everyone the chance. But against Fulham away, that's a tough Premier League fixture in a cup format. In the very first stage of the very first cup that you're playing in.
So what a good opportunity to see who can offer you anything. What a great chance to see versus a Premier League side who can offer you anything. I mean,
then why not do that against Bournemouth? Why not do it against Bournemouth?
Because wouldn't you rather get 3 points away at Bournemouth?
No, I'd rather.
You might not be saying that at the end of the season, Kate.
What's more important? To me, the league is more important than the cups. It always has been. I get murdered by people who think that I don't understand what elite sport is about. People say you don't get elite sport. It's all about lifting trophies. I'm like, no. I watch Tottenham because I like to distract myself, to distance myself from the stresses of my life. And to me, I'd much rather have a successful season over 38 weeks than a successful cup period. That's my take on it. Not everyone else's, but to go out at the first chance of asking by experimenting with 9 new players against Fulham away.
Let me see what you can do. Let me see what you can do in the greatest of tests away at a Premier League competition level caliber opponent. Let's see what we can get out of any of these guys. And they showed and they answered all the questions that I think you were all saying that y'all have.
Jacob, we're not gonna get relegated this year. We would have been better off trying those players against a Burnley, because a cup game is a one-off game. You don't get another chance. We're not going to get relegated. We could have afforded to try those players, and if we lose the 3 points, yes, it's 3 points, but we're not going to win the league. We had a chance of going on a cup run, and we had a chance of winning the cup. They're one-off games. It was the wrong decision on every level to make 9 changes.
I would disagree with you. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's a surprise, Jacob. You just love to disagree with me.
I'm sure Jim's correct, but Kate, sometimes you're way off. It's okay. Jim's the smart one in the house. I understand.
Whether it's the cup or the league, though, whether it's the cup or the league, you should. Whether it's the cup or the league, you should be judging their players on their performances. What I look for, not in videos, when we know that prospective players we want to bring on videos, when we know they're going to look good. I would look for 3 things: players with vision who move the ball quickly, who can make things happen, right? How many players in that team today can move the ball quickly and have the vision to make things happen? If it means they've got to rely on Basuma and Madison and others to make them look good when they get their chance in the team, they shouldn't be in the team. As simple as that. They're not good enough. We've got a distinct lack of quality in depth of the squad, and it needs to be upped. And we're not going to solve it by Friday. We might get 2 in, but we're not going to solve it by Friday. Everyone knows we need a centre-back minimum. And then you hear everyone turning around, they're going around and saying, oh, yeah, but if we bring a quality centre, they won't come because we've got Van der Ven and Romero. That's not the issue. You've got 40 games to play this season left. Right?
Did Van der Ven get injured today?
No, he was probably our best player in Forster, wasn't he?
No, I just meant, did he get injured?
I think he got
injured. Because Man City have got quality in their squad, down to 17 or 18. So what you do when you bring a quality centre-back in, you just tell that centre-back he is going to get games. We haven't bring you in not to get games. So you can rotate 3, and then you can have an Ashley Phillips as your 4th choice, or Torrington, right? You can have them as your 4th choice. You can do that. You can do that in other positions,
So do you want them to do that in a cup match or in a Premier League match?
See, I
I want to
disagree.
do it in every match, Jacob. In
I
every
did-
match. I mean, we should be able to put a team out that's good enough to win a game. All right, that lot didn't gel. Fair enough. It might have been different if only half of them played of the changes, and we'd put a Basuma and Madison. We might have seen a total different game. But what it did, it showed that individually these players aren't good enough. They can't make it happen on their own. They need others around them to help them. Right. So to me, Sanchez goes. I was never confident. And I'm not just picking him out as one. He goes. Right. We see that Solomon, not going to throw him under the bus either because he's new. He's at limited game time. Can't defend. Perisic can't defend and fight back.
How else can he justify using or not using? How can he justify using or not using players if he doesn't give them an opportunity in his system to see what they look like? I don't understand why it's like the mood around it is like, oh, he did.
Hey, Jacob, let me let Ben. Sorry, I completely forgot, Ben. I brought you in, and then I said I'm now going to let it go through a free for all. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to me. There's someone I haven't let give their overtake. So sorry, Ben. Apologies. Overview to you.
I'm happy
go
to
for it,
to these
and then we'll get back to the free for all.
Before I go back to Jacob's, I was slaughtered a couple of weeks ago because I said this team is not good enough. We let go a generational talent, and we expected to win football games without replacing them. We've got poor centre backs all over the park. We've got centre backs that don't. We've got midfielders that don't fit this position. We saw that game tonight. They could barely pass a football. They could barely pass a football, and I've had it all week, all month, saying, "Oh, we've got this new manager, and suddenly we can play football with these players." Those same players came back into the team, and we couldn't play football again because they're not good enough. They are simply.
Ben, was it okay to experiment, but too much experimentation equals not madness, right?
We're playing one game a week. We can play our first team every game if possible, and if we can't, you buy more players so you can play your best team. It's unacceptable to play Ollie Skip and Højbjerg. The two players we know from watching last season couldn't play football together. They could barely pass a football. And we thought, you know what, let's play them again. Because now we're playing a highly progressive, attacking football system. I know, I've got a brilliant idea. Let's play people that can't play football. Brilliant.
Are we
right? But when Ainge sits down with the board, with whoever makes the decisions to keep or sell these players, right? When Ainge sits down, how can he say, "I know for a fact this guy's X, Y, and Z"? He can't until he has. Look, now I've showed you. Get me better. This is a chance to show a lot of things, to answer questions.
In the words of Phil
I don't know how much you learned in one game anyway.
I've got cataracts. Daniel Levy surely has cataracts. Fabio Paratici, as a consultant, surely has cataracts. They should be able to see this team is not good enough. They cannot play football. Dave the Rave Sanchez cannot pass a ball 5 yards. He's quick. I think he's the best of the bad bunch, but he still can't pass a football, which is imperative in an Ange Postecoglou possession-based system. If we have Ben Davis.
So then it was a good thing tonight, right? So Ben, I think what Jacob's saying, and I actually agree with Jacob. I agree with you, Ben, with what you're saying there in summary, right? It has exposed that there isn't those players, but at the same time, Ange couldn't say. But Ange couldn't know that. But Ange couldn't know that or say that with confidence until he's seen it. Mike, and I think that Jacob, I think you got a good point. But I think Ben, you're spot on with the fact that these players aren't good enough. I think that both of you are making good points coming from a different angle. I think that my problem is that we experimented too much tonight.
Of course.
We rolled the dice too much. You could do it with 3 of them or 4 of them, but not 9 of them.
When you're young and you're new, who hasn't experimented just a little too much on a Friday night, on a Tuesday night?
If you put Harry Kane in that team
what
tonight,
you could do, Jacob, is you could start.
So, Jacob, are you saying that this is the equivalent of a night out on LSD? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe just a little too much, and the trip was too much, you know. And
I
you
think
should
that
have
was
just,
all go left rather than LSD.
Hey,
you
what's
know,
that?
you learn. These are learning experiences. You say, okay, now I know how much will get me, you know, this
Where I
performance,
wanna
which is a
be.
draw versus a Premier League side in a Carabao Cup. We don't control the fact that we drew Fulham in the first round. I understand it sucks when we getting kicked out in the first go round of it, but this is the first loss under Ange Postecoglou with a slew of players we all knew wasn't good enough. But now Ange has the proof to say this is why he's not good enough.
Conte
Why do you
had
think?
proof as
Why do you
well.
think? How do you think he's
Conte
justified
had
keeping an England international player out of the squad? Because he said, "Look at this Barcelona match. That's all I need to show you. In my system, he doesn't work." Now he has that on other players like Davinson Sanchez and
But
these other.
Jacob,
That's
I
that's
love
my
you,
point.
buddy, but Conte had proof, which is why he asked for new players. Nuno had proof, which is why he had asked for more players. Pochettino had proof, which is why he asked for a total painful rebuild. It seems that we've needed a rebuild for 10 years and we haven't rebuilt. These players are not good enough.
I don't know what y'all.
They never
We
were
can't
good
move 10 players in one window. I
Can't
mean,
do that.
Chelsea have.
Should have been done
Let me
years
get
ago.
let me get a couple of super chats, guys, done, and I'll bring you guys in to answer it. From a user, yes, it was on Ange, but I felt he did that to show certain players they are not good enough to play his system. But then again, we always fail at the cups. I think that's basically tying into Jacob's point. I'm going to give this one to Kate. Do you agree with that user?
I said this just now. I don't think he chose. I don't know what they're saying. Are they saying he chose these players to show that they're not good enough, so that they would have to get new players? Because I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I just find the whole thing baffling. If you've got one game a week and then you've got an international break, why rest 9? I know what you're saying, Jacob, and to an extent I agree. He wants to see how they work, right, under him, even though we all know they're useless. But you don't make 9 changes. 9 changes is ridiculous in a cup game where you only get one shot at going through.
I don't think it's ridiculous when you have a completely different.
We weren't playing Newport. We were playing a Premier League side who got a draw against Arsenal at the weekend with 10 men. So he just completely underestimated them, showed them no respect, and that shows his inexperience of the Premier League, in my opinion.
Joe, I'm going to back up what Kate said as well.
Go on, Mia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
I was going to back up because Joe, what he could have done is put some of those players in and then switched them out and played some of those players again. Like he could have done that, but he chose to put them all on at once instead, which I feel was the wrong decision because he could have done the testing out thing, but with some of the regular players and sort of switched it out and see who was good and who wasn't. If that's what he's trying to do, he didn't need to do it all at one go. Like that was ridiculous. It wasn't a good decision.
And why mess
I disagree.
With the back four?
I disagree.
Why mess with the back
I understand
four?
what you're saying.
We certainly missed Udogie's pace on the left, didn't we? Yeah, he makes a big difference. He would have.
If Udogie was injured, then I understand it.
Fair enough. He was.
Why was he on the bench then?
Yeah, he was on the bench.
Why was he on the bench then? If he's not fit, why is he on the bench?
Well, I mean, that's just a different conversation, isn't it?
Because you look at the back four.
You often get players that are 50, 60, 70% fit. They're just making up the numbers. If there's no intention to bring them on, I don't know why you wouldn't have brought them on. He should have brought him on if he was fit. But I don't know. Like we all saw him walk off in a panic against Bournemouth. So whatever. All I'm saying is that I think the Udogie for Ben Davies was probably the most sensible. I don't know why Romero was rested for Sanchez. That was obviously turned out to be a disaster.
I mean,
Emerson Royale for Porro, I think, was also reasonable, but I thought Emerson really struggled tonight. I thought Emerson was dog shit. You can't
compare Romero with Sanchez when it comes to passing the ball, can you? I mean, Romero's 100%. So good on the ball.
We had nobody on the back four that could pass particularly. And then you had someone inside of him, Højbjerg, who just doesn't have the legs or the nous to play that particular role. If Man United want him, 35 million, I'll let him go. Woodsy 1021 again, mate. Big up. He said, as was said on Saturday, we've got our Tottenham back. And he's got the laugh. But yeah, we have. We're Spursy. We got our Spursy back. How about that one?
Yeah.
Really appreciate the super chat, mate, and the ongoing support. You've been lively tonight, mate. Donovan Davis with a big one. Really, really appreciate it. I'm going to give this one to Colin to answer. when the starting 11 was announced, everyone should have known that Ange was giving players an opportunity to show something in a match that matters, and people aren't going to agree with that, but it's his choice. Colin.
Jacob, is that your alt account?
No, but Donovan Davis, double D from Texas. I'll tell you what, he does spit a lot of facts, so I'm gonna have to agree.
Appreciate you, Donovan, mate. It's very nice of you, man. Very, very nice
Big
super chat. Really
yeah. Nice, but yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree with him, but I don't. I just refuse to believe that he didn't know that this was a likely outcome, and like I know that the guy doesn't like to lose, so I don't know. It's just I guess you're right. It is his choice, but I would have thought he would have loved to have been the manager to break our trophy curse, and we just said, we'll throw away one of those chances tonight. I don't know. Just strange to me. I like everyone's saying, switch out 4, 5 of the players, or at the very least, don't change goalkeepers. Jesus Christ.
Or
but anyway,
what you do is you play your strongest.
I think the goalkeeper is the least of our problems.
Strongest team, win the game early, then make changes. That's what a correct team.
Right,
does.
because then a Premier League team would play you the same way they would if you were 0-0 in the beginning of the match. It doesn't make sense, Ben.
Win the
Are
game
we guilty
early.
at all, guys? Can I ask you this? Are we guilty at all of being a little bit discrediting to Fulham? Because I thought
Fulham were good.
Fulham
They
were
got
very
a point
good.
off of Arsenal
But we weren't just bad. Fulham were very good. I thought Tete was excellent. I thought Robinson was excellent. I thought Paulinho was excellent. I thought Muniz was very busy up the top end. I thought that Fulham played really well, and it leads me to kind of wonder,
lose that.
If we were to have played a stronger team tonight, are we assuming arrogantly that we would have just beaten them?
We would have beaten them.
No,
You have
I
a better
think-
chance of winning the game.
I think that the reason they looked so good is because we didn't play the Ange way. We played Conte ball for 45 minutes. So I feel like that's a bit of a kind of, you can't really tell because we didn't play Ange ball for 45 minutes. We literally did play Conte ball and made them look.
We didn't have any creativity in midfield. You had Madders or Basuma on there. You'd have seen a different Tottenham altogether. We had space, but we just had nobody there.
Yeah,
we
I
looked
agree with
slow.
that.
Sluggish. It was just awful.
I agree with that, Kate. I agree 100%.
What?
Lo Celso is not.
I agree with you, Kate.
Lucky you're sitting down, Kate. Bloody hell.
The biggest
To be
problem
nice,
was
Jacob.
we were completely overrun from the start with those 3 in midfield.
Yeah.
And that's
We underestimated them.
and whether that was because a lot of the balls were just, I mean, we saw so many, aimless hoofs up the pitch just to get rid of the ball
from the
So maybe
goalkeeper
that
a lot of the time.
the midfield. But I think it's just look, we're going to have to settle for doing the double this season. That's all.
There you go.
A couple more super chats, and then I think, guys, it's getting quite late. Probably give everyone their last final thoughts on where we go from here. It's a topic actually. I want to. Where we go next is probably the most important question. We're done. What happened tonight is done. Before we get to it, Callum Roche again, mate. Shout out to you again, mate. Pleasure to meet you earlier. If it was that Callum, I'm not sure if there was 2 Callums, but if it was you, mate, appreciate you. At least he left Dyer out. If Dyer can't get in, then it shows you what's going to be in store for him if he doesn't decide to leave the club. And Black Azini, haven't seen a super chat, mate. I haven't seen a comment. If you want to stick one in, then I will see if I can find it. Brian Timlin put one in earlier, and I said to him, here we go. Here's the super chat that he missed. I think Ange made too many changes. When I saw Højbjerg, Skip, and Davies, alarm bells was going for lack of technical ability and legs, and Sanchez should be 9th or 10th on the penalty. I completely agree. I think everyone generally agrees, mate. I think we've gone through that, the conversation though. Really appreciate you, Brian. Thank you so much. We've got another one that's just popped in now from Rob Wallace. Massive one. Big up, Rob. I missed the game due to finding the bottom of a box of Heineken. Big up, bro. I found the bottom of the bottle of vodka. I didn't. It started half full, so it's no problem. But it seems Ange stuffed up here, or was he trying to prove a point to Levy? This was a cup we could have gone for. in this year, I thought. So no excuses. Look, I'll handle this one. Rob, I think we've gone through this over the last hour. I think everyone is slightly different. I think Jacob thinks that there was no chance for Ange to see everybody unless it's in a scenario like this, unless he wanted to kind of put a risk 3 points. And maybe there is that general kind of disdain for the Carabao Cup. Maybe it's like, if you're going to experiment, you should experiment then. Personally, as much as I think that the league is more important than cups, and I know that I'm in the minority, I would also say that in this scenario, if you're going to experiment, you don't do it if you draw Fulham away in the second round. You do it if you draw Mansfield away in the third round of the FA Cup or in the third round of this cup. I think you got to take care of business when business is difficult to take care of with your best. But look, we'll wait and see. And this is actually the kind of the segment, the last segment of the evening where I want to go with it. And I'm going to let everyone start. I'm going to go with who shall I start with? I'm going to start with Adrian on this one, and I'm going to pop right to Ben. To Mr. Mensch.
Is it because we've both got beards, Shorty boy?
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm trying to get everyone's names as I'm going through it. I'm also, like I say, I'm long of a few vodkas now, so it's difficult at 20 past 11. but after the top, we'll come to the bottom. Let's pivot. Let's pivot the conversation. Last major sort of chapter of the evening. Where do we go from here? We have a massive game in, what is it? It's 5 days' time. We've got 3 days left of the window. We got 6 days, 7 days, I think, until the next Premier League game. What's the reaction going to be like, Adrian? What do we do? Do we pivot? Do we go again? Do we go straight back to the first 11? Does anybody from today keep their place in the team? Go where you want, and then we'll move around from there.
Well, if it isn't broke, you don't fix it, do you? So you go back. You go back and you pick the players that can do a job for you. And and that means Maddison and Basuma walk straight back outside, and Sarr as well. And if you get it means that you go back to the front three that has misfired, has been a bit disjointed, but you'll get the press with them, and you'll get some defensive qualities of defending at the front from Richarlison and Kula at least, and Son will just run his socks off as usual, So you go back to that, and you go back to the back four, and Vicaria goes back in goal. And we just have to hope that it only looks like we'll get 2 players in, that we do get now, like Brennan Johnson doesn't look such a bad buy, does he? If we get him, and we hope that we still get, Tosin. We have to hope that we get a couple.
What I do, Adrian, is I get that 50 million quid we're going to spend on Brennan Johnson, and that 40 million we're going to get from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg going to Man United, and I go and bloody buy Paulinho because that guy is class. That's what because he's proven as far as I'm concerned. That's a top player. We need a top number 6. We're selling our current number 6 to Man United. You get a proper number 6 in to play with Basuma and Pape Sarr. That's what a top team does. You don't buy players like Brennan Johnson that you don't know is going to really hit the ground running. You buy top players that are top players. That's what you do. That's what the Ange team needs. We need top players that can come in and provide depth.
But the recent rumours coming out whether they wanted a left-footed centre back. Well, there aren't any out there. They're rare. That means you get Longley back, And there was rumours that Tanganga was going to go. Listen, that Torino are interested in Tanganga. I was speaking to Sean about this earlier, which means that Schurz might be an option before this window closes. But we don't know if all this talk about Tosin Adebayo is BS, which 99% of the transfer window is anyway, right? About whether he said he don't want to come and all that. There's nothing from the player or his entourage at all. We heard that he would like to have gone to Monaco, that Monaco haven't got the money that Fulham want for him. So Fulham would rather sell to Spurs. So we don't know if he said this, that, or the other, Tosin. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm just glad the transfer window is going to be shut in a couple of days.
Yeah. All right. Let me come. Who was next? Let me come to Alex. Alex, sorry, before we get there, shout out to Never a Foul. Amazing channel. Love the boys and girls over there. Sent over the raid. Appreciate all the non-Tottenham fans that have come in just to wind us up. Tell us how bad we are. Don't worry, boys. It's only Tottenham. Appreciate you all.
Wound up. I'm not even
Alex.
wound up.
Nah, it's all good. It is what it is. It is what it is. Alex, how do we go about this? We got Burnley on Saturday. Do we go back to the same starting 11 that played against us, or that we played against Bournemouth or Man United, or do any of these guys keep their place in the team?
I think Richarlison keeps his place in the team. He's scored. I think to drop him now would be after he's got his goal, unless he didn't go off injured, did he?
Who?
Richarlison.
No, unfortunately not.
Knock. I think
The
both
look
him
on his
and Ben
face.
picked up knocks.
So I think he's far from my favourite player, and I wish we'd never signed him. But he's the only senior striker we've got now, and we've been moaning because he hasn't scored. So to drop him now after he has scored is, I think, totally counterproductive. Please God, this is the beginning of a scoring run for Richarlison, and he's going to.
It's really funny though, right? Because we've gone back to only having one striker, except we've downgraded from Harry Kane and generational talent to only having Richarlison. We're one striker FC again, everyone.
Do you know what though, Ben? It wasn't the striker that screwed us tonight, mate.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't the lack of striker that messed us up. We created absolutely nothing in the first 65 minutes of the game.
So I think we definitely
Lo
need to
Celso
sign
for me can. If Barcelona want to come in and pay 20 million for Lo Celso, I'll take it. Bite your hand off.
I'd take it.
Bite your hand off right now. Lo Celso in real time looks absolutely awful.
I would have bought Alex Scott over having Lo Celso in, and we'd let him go to Bournemouth.
Yeah, but I think, Ben, we've got how many players that we need to get rid of? We can't just keep signing players and players. Even.
No, but I'd be happy to let them all go. Like we might as well thin the squad down. Someone put a comment out earlier on. If we're not in we don't need a squad of 25. If we're playing 30, it could be a 40 game season. It could be a 40 game season. Like 38 in the league and 2 in the cups. One of them's already out. If we get Chelsea in the FA Cup third round, it's a 40 game season. We don't need a 25-man squad. We need a 20-man squad. Yeah, let's strip it right back.
Jackson, left back. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I think we definitely need a competition for Richarlison. Scarlett is clearly not ready to be a Premier League player. We've already heard that Belize is also is nowhere near ready to be in the first team, at least until
I'd like to see him though
until January. So we need a second striker. I don't think Brennan Johnson, is the player that we should be going for. I don't see what he's done for Nottingham Forest that says he's going to be an upgrade on anyone we've already got. I don't see how he's better than Manor Solomon and who he's going to replace in the team. So I just think he's a waste of money, to be honest. We already wasted 60 million last year, and we're being asked to pay a similar amount for a player who's got a similar record he's younger than Richarlison, but he's got a similar record in the top flight. And he's
all right.
I just think he's not worth that money. I don't know who he is, to be honest. We need
it is what it is.
Another defender. I think that's for me. We need to get a defender and a striker. I think in central midfield we're okay, despite this evening. I think we've got enough there. Even if we get rid of Højbjerg.
Yeah, good work, Alex. Let's sort of because I think we're getting to the point now. The evening is 11:20. I've got to be up at 5 o'clock, so I need to kind of get around everyone and round it off. Kate, sort of final words, mate. How do we recover from this for Saturday? And by the way, if there's anywhere that you got to plug as we go around, then let us know as well.
Just go back to what we were doing. Play the same team that we played last week. Richie's not good enough for me. Nowhere near good enough. I would have tried to loan him to Everton with an option to buy and try and get a striker in because he is diabolically bad. I'm sure there must be a striker in the academy that's better than Richie. I think my dog was actually better than Richie with a ball. But yeah, we'll just have to keep trying with the team that we've got and hope and pray that we get 2, 3, 4 players in. But do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. And Brennan Johnson is most definitely not the answer. But anyway, you could catch me at Just to Go Love Spurs 1 till 2 every weekday and just popping up at various times when there's things to report.
Awesome, Kate. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate you for coming on. Jacob, what's going on with United Spurs of America and what's going to happen over the next 3 days?
What's going to happen over the next 3 days on the channel or at Spurs with regards to the transfer deadline?
With regards to Tottenham. I mean, you can tell me if you've got something happening in your life over the next 3 days.
I mean, I don't have anything planned unless you want to plan something out with me, Shawnee. We can do it live on air. I don't care. No,
I mean, I don't know.
United Spurs of America, there it is. As far as what I think is going to happen, I don't know. I think this is a lot of tape that Ainge can take into that boardroom and say, look, this is what I've seen. This is what works and doesn't work in my system. And you have it on proof. And look at all the pissed off fans, because, you know, the fans can say, oh, I've said this for X amount of time. I've been screaming it. But Ainge already said, I don't listen to any fan podcasts. I'm sorry. So he did put that to bed. So I'm not too.
This show.
He might be watching this show of all the shows, but he might.
He ain't
be
watching this one yet.
Yeah, that's the right way to say it. So as far as what's going to happen, I don't know. I think now he has a lot of. If this was a court of law, he's piled up his evidence, and now he will present it to the jury, being the board, and let's see what the verdict is. As far as what that verdict may be, you could flip a coin, and you might be right, you might be wrong. I'm not.
I think things are going to happen, bro. I think there's going to be.
Yeah, you would hope
a wild last 2-3 days. I think tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday are going to be wild at Tottenham.
You would hope the amount of evidence he's compiled is enough to turn the jury and have them swayed to do some work, like you said. I hope so. I hope. I've been having hope. Maybe I'm not broken enough. Maybe that's what it is. I need to get broken in like a wild Mustang.
Are you going to go and stream in a minute, Jacob? Are you streaming? People are asking if you're carrying on the stream.
I was talking with Jack Kinnicky of the Irish Hotspur. Allegedly, we were going in 8 minutes, but he has not verified that information.
You'll be on the Irish Hotspur, will you?
Allegedly, yes.
Okay.
If not, I will.
If they can send me the link or whatever, I'll redirect everybody over there. Appreciate you, Jacob. Mia, what's happening in the last 3 days?
I think for me is we're going to have to go back to what we know. We have to go back to that team. Richie is going to play. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I think what Alex said, we've got to play him now. He has scored. We can't just drop him. I think that would be a disaster for his confidence if he has just scored. So I think him and Van de Ven will keep their places. Everybody else is nowhere near the team. Absolutely not. So yeah, I feel like we've got a lot more outgoings to come before we even consider for some incomings. We definitely need to get those sorted. There's so many that need to go out, and it just seems to be at a snail's pace at the moment to try and get these players out, because that seems to be the issue with the team at the moment. It's because we've got such a bloated squad that we do need to get some out, and I'm hoping that we do get a centre back. And if we get a Brennan Johnson, and that is truly who Ange wants, then I don't know, what can I say? If he wants him, I'm going to have to eat my words if I was wrong about him and he turns out to be good, just like I was with Maddison. I'm humble enough to say, actually, I was wrong about him and he's been fantastic. So let's wait and see what happens at the end of the window. Then I'll decide. I don't do thus far in the window. I wait until the end of the window.
You can do thus far now. We've got 2 days left, mate.
Mia.
You can do thus far. 2 days to go.
Thus
But yeah. And if you want to see more of me, go over to Spurs Between the Lines.
Awesome. Well done, mate. Another wonderful appearance. There you go. The link is there. If everyone wants to, you guys, everyone in the comments that are still here, you got to be clicking on these links that Ben's putting out and helping everybody out. Really appreciate it. Benny boy, coming over to you, my man. What is coming up?
Shout out to one person that did.
So yeah,
shout him out.
Coffee Company weekly shows. Tomorrow we are live with the wonderful Cuva 99 and the absolutely delightful Bobby K for the Brewing Bollocks podcast, which is my favourite show of the week, and it's everyone's favourite show of the week. So get over to there on the Coffee Company. And stay tuned on Friday for Tottenham on Tour. We are doing something that's completely and utterly idiotic. We are doing a 12-hour stream, transfer deadline day at the coffee company. So if you are in the Woodford area and you want a cup of coffee, sorry, Alex, we're going to be ruining Shabbos, but it's all right. But we will have to apologise to the Rebbe later. But Tottenham on Tour, Friday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Transfer deadline day. We're going to have loads of people come into the coffee shop and have talk about transfers, things like that. All that nonsense. So get over there to Tottenham on Tour. But please sub to the coffee company. We've just hit 500 subscribers. So thank you to everyone for getting us there. It really means a lot. And let's see if we can get to 600 now. We're trying to get all the way to make the world a better place. So go to the coffee company.
Amazing, Ben. Appreciate you so much.
Congrats on the 500, Ben. Very well
Congrats.
deserved.
Nice work.
Congrats. And last but by no means least, Colin, my man, what is going to happen over the next 3 days? Is Tottenham going to transfer? Are we going to see how many players are we seeing coming in? How many are going to go out, mate? And where can people find you, buddy? Where can people find you?
Three incoming. And
three.
Then
I'll take three.
I'll just be easy and say 3 outgoing too. I know that's no fun. I'm just trying to think of who we've got that realistically anybody wants. Gio Celso. I know there's been some talk about Sanchez going to Spartak Moscow, but I don't think he wants to go. We'll see. We'll see. But if anybody wants to find me, good luck. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking ball, right?
Whoa, yeah, nice work. I appreciate you, Ben. You're a good man. You're a very, very good man. And I also want to say,
moderator is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and your deadline day show sounds awesome, Ben. Please, everybody, go and check that out. As far as my channel, if you really want to watch, you're gonna have to go and hit the bell because I don't even know when I'm going live. It just kind of the mood strikes and I do it. So no schedule, but I like to appear on other people's shows if they let me, and I'm around. But yeah, I think that we'll definitely see some incoming players. I mean, if Brennan Johnson is the player that we want or that Ange wants, grab him. It looks like we're playing a more fluid front three than in the past, so we don't need. I mean, obviously we need an out-and-out striker. I don't think we're playing a strikerless system, but it seems to be less of an issue than before, and I think the goals will be shared more among the attacking players rather than one player pulling a cane and scoring 30 goals in the season. So Brennan Johnson, I don't think he's going to be the end of the world if he comes, and I think maybe he'll surprise a few people like Mia said. So yeah, that's
wonderful stuff. Colin, listen, guys, there's 450 people still in the house. Look, if you just scroll up, right, you're going to see Ben Kaufman's name 7 times. One there for Colin, one there for Tottenham on Tour. And as you scroll up, they're still going to be there. Everybody that's been on this show, everyone right now, all of their links are there. I can't bring them up all at one time, but can you just smash them all? So go on there, click the links. It doesn't take you away from the channel. Just go up there and do everyone a favor. These guys are spending their Tuesday night talking with me. We're all talking with you. It's a terrible evening in terms of Tottenham's result, but we'll go again. It is what it is. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'll see how I feel. Probably going to be hungover. My tomorrow morning's dog walk is probably going to be miserable, but I'll do my best to cheer up and we'll get over it. But listen, you have to help these guys out by smashing these links. You're going to find everybody's links there. And go over there and subscribe to them, help them out. We want to help everyone in the community. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody. By the way, Adrian, I never gave you the chance to give your plug. I think I think we skipped past before I reminded everyone. Adrian, where can people find you, buddy?
Find me on Twitter, Adrian_Stroker. There's a link there to my Facebook group. We nearly get 12,000 in now. We're doing okay. So if you want
wonderful stuff, mate.
If you're into Facebook, welcome to come and join. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been with me. I've been streaming for like 9 hours today, so I'm absolutely shattered. But I want to say a massive thank you on this particular stream to Chankle, to Moss Chops, to Blaine Dare's been absolutely insane with his support, with also the gifting memberships. Benny Boy for the 15-month membership, to AJ, to Frankly Tottenham, who popped on for a little while, then popped off. Callum Roche. To Woodsy with a little the ba. It's you've been sprinkling them in. Hollywood Hotspur, Alex E, Rain Man, Americanka, Loves Music, Brian Timlin, A User, and Donovan Davis with the big one. I really appreciate that as well. I appreciate all of you guys. Callum Roche again. Blakazinski, Rod Wallace, and Bobby K to say goodnight to
Cheers,
everyone.
Bobby
He's saying big
K.
up, Swanee, Hannah and chat. Tough day for us. It is indeed. Guys, we're going to leave it there. You'll see me tomorrow morning for a Tottenham walk with Bugsy, and then I'll be streaming at some point tomorrow. But yeah, look, make sure you like and subscribe to everyone here. And I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been with us the whole day. It's been a long one. Don't worry, guys. We're out of the cup, but the march still goes on. How does it go, Jacob? We never stop. Is that what they say? We never stop.
We never stop. I was gonna curse, but this isn't my channel, so there you go.
Quiz.
As the saying goes,
Night,
when
everybody.
you're going through hell, keep going.
And as
Exactly.
always, leave
Oh wait,
out.
bye, guys. Listen, don't let anybody ruin your day. It's your day. Ruin it yourself.
There you go.